one that is in front of you today is a multi-use SCIF, a sensitive compartment information facility. This one is a little bit different in that it really doesn't fit 100% of what we've just got finished talking about with the other projects. They don't quite fit the mold of what we were doing for ESP for this first round, but nevertheless, what we see from a staff's perspective is this is something that benefits over 800 different businesses in Pinellas County that work with the Department of Defense at any given day. Over the course of COVID, it's been a huge impact because SOCOM is where they all used to go, across over to MacDill. But because of COVID, they shut down MacDill and made it extremely difficult for a lot of our smaller companies to be able to access this type of structure in order to be able to bid and or interact with the Department of Defense on their projects. So on this particular one, what's happening is the university is requesting that this program underwrite the SCIF itself, because it's a self-contained SCIF, and then the installation of it, and then the university will be responsible for, doing all of the bookings, doing the security clearances, all of the various things to keep it up and running and available to all of our DoD clients throughout Pinellas County.
Yeah, Commissioner Long. Oh.
So, you go first. So this is USF?
Actually, no, this is, oh my gosh, I've gone blank. This is the National Forensic Science Technology Center as part of International, Florida International.
Oh, okay. I remember hearing about this a couple of years ago when we had a forum with defense manufacturers, and this was something they really needed. And
exactly.
We didn't have at all. So that's great.
Commissioner Long.
So as a result of that forum and the fact that many years ago I used to serve on Military and Veterans Affairs, I am very aware of a local group who is working very closely with SOCOM. And I would, on this kind of an issue relating to a SCIF specifically located in mid-Pinellas County. And so I would like to request that we delay action on this item for about 3 weeks to give an opportunity for an alternative analysis so that you and Kevin and Barry and the rest of the staff can have an opportunity to understand the bigger picture that's going on that maybe everyone isn't aware of today. I think it could be a much better and bigger opportunity for the county if we could just delay it for about 3 weeks.
That's fine, but I would argue that, in all due respect, that we have over 800 small businesses.
I know that.
That would, really like to have access. And if we have more than one, then I'm okay with that too. And I think a lot of us, because of the availability of it. But I do hear what you're saying. A lot of times, what happens is that the Department of Defense, somebody has to underwrite or support the SCIFs that are going in. So, there's a question as to whether or not, who's underlying, who's doing the underpinning or the request to say this is a good SCIF to have. So it's fine. We can come back at a later date, or if you would trust us, we'll still do our due diligence. And if we find that it's something else, then we can cancel the agreement.
Did you have anything, Barry?
Well, Commissioner Long brought this up earlier. Again, I don't know anything about it or what this other proposal is. So we had this before us. If we delay it, we can go back and follow up on that. It's kind of up to the commission.
I mean, is delaying it? I mean, I'm just curious what the benefit to the delay is. And I mean, we can only look.
Well, the benefit to the delay is there is a lot more money on the table with folks that are already have very high security clearances from the FBI that are working on this issue. Some of them are part of the 800 small businesses that you spoke of, that some of us were at that conference. This is before you came, Kevin, sorry. But it was an extremely valuable informational opportunity with tons of those small businesses. In fact, I would venture to say the room was packed and sold out, so I think most of those folks were represented there.
Commissioner Justice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What we're doing today is conditional. It's not a final. So if we gave approval on this agenda item today, it wouldn't preclude you from bringing that information forward, correct?
No, we still, well,
I mean, we wouldn't be entering into any agreements with anybody.
does the final agreements come back to the commission? Or
They do not. They go directly to you, sir.
They go directly to me. So.
Well, what's the time frame on that?
Oh, we're a ways away. We are.
So what's the
So,
difference?
I'm sorry if I could. So if we give conditional, this will be the last we see of it?
Yes, sir. Unless you want us to bring it back.
Well, that's a little different than how I thought it was written, but okay.
Commissioner Flowers.
Thank you. delaying this for 3 weeks, which means it still has to go through whatever process it needs to go through for you to do your due diligence and then get it over to Barry for his signature, what type of impact will that have, if any, that you may be aware of on the businesses that are requesting this for the potential to be approved for certain contracts through this? I don't want to delay someone from having that financial opportunity because of something that may or may not happen based on other people coming together. You know, I'm not sure what the other information is, but I'm not understanding why we would need to delay someone from having this opportunity, even if there is a bigger picture. There's a lot that can happen elsewhere, so.
Well, may I speak to that, Mr. Chair?
Commissioner George, go ahead, did you have a question?
I just wanted to ask
She
that.
didn't answer my question, though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was asking, are there financial opportunities that this organization would miss out on because we would be delaying it for 3 weeks?
Let me answer that. It's a new opportunity to bring a SCIF to where companies can access outside of the fence, okay, outside of McDill. So obviously, the sooner you have that, then it's easier for companies. But it's hard to say that there's a corresponding with the missed opportunity because we don't know if they have access to McDill or not. So I understand your question. I'm not sure we can answer that directly.
Well, she was saying that they shut down McDill's,
And-
the access to the SCIF at McDill. So if that's the case, they don't have access right now. And if you go on the government's website, I do this for my other life, you'll see a number of potential grants and opportunities that are out there
Yeah.
related to the Department of Defense. So I'm sure that if this were in place, they would then venture to apply for those things, especially with us having so many organizations within some of our commercial hubs that deal specifically with items that the Department of Defense utilizes. So that's why I'm asking that question.
My-
I didn't mean to be like poppy.
My understanding is McDill is still closed.
That's what I
to
thought,
the
yeah.
outside. That's the only thing I can, and that was going to be my only response back to you is.
I have family in the military, and that's why I know that
Yeah.
they're still closed. So,
So that's
why
my
I'm
only
asking.
response I can give you is I don't know anything more than McDill is still closed.
Yeah, I mean, Janet, I appreciate what you're bringing to us. I wish you were able to give us maybe a little bit more information to.
I have the answer to your question about why I am requesting the delay. The National Forensic Science Technology Center and the company behind this SCIF is owned by a veteran small business owner in Jacksonville. The folks that I am aware of are located here in Pinellas County with manufacturing companies here in Pinellas County. And I'm more interested in working with our local folks, if it's possible, than I am with a company that's based out of Jacksonville.
So would supporting this particular entity mean that we could not support the other individuals who are located here if they were to present an application? I'm asking a question. We have businesses that have their home offices or home bases all over, and then they have other pieces of their operation here. So I'm just not, I mean, I agree with supporting home first, but this isn't the only company that has a location in another city in the state of Florida or even in another state that also has interests here in our county. Thank you.
I'm just wondering if you could give her the information about these people that you know of from Pinellas County so that she could contact them.
I talked to Barry and I talked to Kevin. I did not know what your role was going to be here today, so I apologize. I've already reached out based on the conversation I had before.
I think it would be important for them to reach out to these people.
I-
But
I-
also, I would want to make sure that that was going to be a completely open process. I feel good about doing business with the university, that it's going to be open, it's going to be available for whoever that needs it. If you're talking about private entities and private companies, I would want to make sure that everybody had that access, and not just those that were partners. So that's the only, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do,
Because
but
we
I
do have
can't talk to
800.
you personally, so I'm trying to say, if you'll just give those folks an opportunity, and by the way, they are working hand in glove with SOCOM at McDill, so while they may be closed, there's a lot of work going on there right now.
Okay, but also, can we not support both of those efforts?
I made the request, it's all up to you.
I just wanted to say those people had the same opportunity to come to economic development and ask for support, or to say, hey, we're already doing this. You might, this is something you should know about. And hopefully they will do that. So, and this isn't the last time we're going to be funding such projects anyway, right?
I hope so.
Well, I hope so too, since we have many millions of dollars waiting.
So my last I have 2 more slides, and that's
Go
it.
ahead.
And so it's recommended actions. It's just one that these 3 applications, if the recommend the board action, conditional approval, allow us to do significant due diligence on the 3 applications that are in front of you to make sure that the numbers work and that what we're asking makes sense for the community. And then following that, that you would delegate to the county administrator to be able to negotiate and execute these agreements. All of these agreements will be negotiated based on their project requests, all of them. There's a good chance that when you see them, there'll be a lot less money that they're getting from us. At what point, just because of how things are coming through. There will be language, and I think it's very important for me to stipulate this. There will be language in these agreements that identify clawback clauses. Absolutely will be part of that. And the disbursements will be made within these agreements to be able to say at certain benchmarks these dollars would be allocated based on what they've accomplished so far in their project, and we would go from there. All in all, it's around 2.8 million that we're requesting, and we'll be glad to keep you updated on everything. I have no problem making sure that that Barry has this information and shares it with you as soon as we complete tasks with these things. Just as a quick reference, we did do round 2. Of our applications. We received 4, and the unique thing, and I think this was critical, is there was only 1 developer in this round, and there were 3 businesses that came through requesting dollars through the ESP program. And I'll be very excited to be able to bring those back to you, hopefully before the end of the year, to be able to share that with you. And with that, I am finished, and would be glad to take any other questions you may have.
I'm just not comfortable with making any changes at this time. I'm not sure I understand this 3rd option. If you could maybe explain a little bit more what this 3rd project,
Oh, the 3rd project?
yeah, what it is,
Okay.
the
so-
unique nature of it, and, so that I understand it.
Sure.
And I'd like to help me understand the industry that we're talking about that
So-
supports this. So,
Do you want?
Go right ahead.
Okay.
I heard about it 2 years ago when I got here. I did a tour. I'm sure many of you have been on that same
not.
tour, but go ahead.
So what's being proposed is a self-contained unit that is manufactured in Jacksonville by a veteran-owned company, and they've manufactured numerous and have shipped them throughout the United States. So this isn't the first time that they've been making it. They've been around for a long time. So what happened is that the university actually had conversations with them and engaging them to talk about putting this particular one inside their existing structure off of Bryan Dairy Road. That's exactly where it's going to be housed, is it will be inside. The forensic group used to have a SCIF when they were at their previous location and had access to it and did a lot of different things. And what it is.
hold on. You're way ahead of me now.
Okay.
A SCIF is a
Thank you.
way of communicating and corresponding with the Department of Defense on sensitive items.
Okay.
So you have to have security clearance to be in there. It's on bid documents. That's not open to the general public. It doesn't go out on common email. It's in a controlled environment, and that communication is in a format that is secure.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, that's where I was going next, but I apologize. So yes, that's exactly what it is. And you can't transact businesses, if you're working on a DoD project, you have to do it within one of those facilities.
Okay. All right. So now we have another company that wants to produce these things.
Not produce it, because though this whole, a SCIF is an incredibly secure facility that, and you can, when you're working on highly sensitive intelligence work, you can only do it in a SCIF.
Right.
And only certain people can work in them. You have to have the highest level of security. And I'm telling you that many of those manufacturing companies that were at that meeting, the congressional folks were there, and the appropriation chair were there. And they talked about it then in that forum that we had. And all I'm suggesting is, it came to my attention very recently that I didn't have an opportunity to sit down and talk to Barry or Kevin or anybody else to alert them that this group is here in Pinellas County. They've been working on it for a long, long time.
What are they working on?
Pardon?
When you say it, what are they-
SOCOM is working on bringing this SCIF to Pinellas County, a large one. So I'm just asking.
So they're
for not-
bringing, they're not producing it. This other company that we're talking about doing, they're actually making the products, yes?
Well, that's what I think. There's a lot of information.
We're paying for a unit to be manufactured out of the city of Jacksonville.
That's not the question. We don't know what the other company's producing. I don't know what it is.
That's right. We don't have, and that's all I'm asking for, is to do an alternative analysis. Should take about 2 weeks to get on everybody's calendar and bring it back. I mean, I just think I think it's a mistake, and I think you're not giving enough opportunity for, and I don't know, I can't answer your question, Commissioner Rod, about why they didn't know about it, why they didn't come forward before. Probably because it's such a big secretive deal with the military. I don't know. I'm not speaking for them. I just said I would ask for consideration to rethink it for a couple of weeks, to give them an alternative to get on the calendar, which I already asked them to do.
So the idea would be waiting a couple weeks, they come with a bigger project that we are more interested in, and then not do that project? Or do you do
Or
both
do
of
them
them?
both. I don't know. I'm just saying, can we have all the facts before we move forward?
Yeah, Commissioner Justice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we approve this tonight, though, we don't have another meeting for quite a while. The information that your contact has could be shared with you and then with administration. And if it was a knock your socks off, this is a much better path, then the administrator and the economic development team could certainly hit the pause button and say, right, is that correct?
I could, if the direction is to pursue this, I could evaluate it before I sign the final deal.
That being said, I do worry about any time that we've got a grant out there, an RFP out there, and we're at a final decision point, and then someone comes in and says, wait a minute, I've got a better one. I do worry about that part of the process. Because we do that every week. We approve budget items, and someone could come and say, wait a minute, before you do that one, I didn't apply for it, but I've got a better deal. And so that one makes me a little nervous.
Commissioner Gerard, did you have a comment?
Well, and again, I don't think there's any drawback to moving this one step forward and finding out more about it. If SOCOM is behind this other one, they're probably paying for it too. They have a whole lot more money than Pinellas County does, particularly in this fund. So I don't know what the conflict would be in having two. So.
Jewel, any issues from your perspective that you see?
None that I see. I mean, the only thing I would offer up is that if you wanted to have an opportunity to look at these again, you could eliminate the delegation to the county administrator. But frankly, the project that you all are spending the time talking on is within his normal delegated monetary authority anyway. But you could certainly choose to direct that all three of them, or even this one in particular, be brought back to the board for the final execution of the agreement. That might be one way to move this forward while at the same time assuring that it comes back to you.
So we could take the first two separately.
Yes, you could.
Okay. And then the other one, I'm still want to make sure I'm clear now. You're going to evaluate the other opportunity.
If the direction is to look at the other opportunity, to Joel's point, you could approve the first two, which would be then delegated. You would see those up on my delegated log of things that I approve at a future point. And then you could take this one up and say that you'll do conditional approval, subject to final approval by this board.
Okay. Yes.
When you say bring forward, that means that whoever this entity is, they're going to make an application like everybody else. They're going to go through a review process like everybody else. And there would be a presentation.
Well, I think at this point, I just find out what we're talking about, because I don't know anything of what we're talking about, and whether or not there is any kind of project out there, if they're looking for funding, I don't know anything. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether it would be something that when they would have to apply for future funding in one of our future rounds, which is what I would suggest if, in fact, they're looking for funding. So it's competitive in nature, but I can't answer that question. at this
I don't
point.
have a problem with taking them separately. I just, I can't see the vision of why this project needs to be delayed in order to make room for the conversation about something that may be larger. We have a growing county. When you look at the number of businesses that are coming here that are technologically driven, that are working in the Department of Defense, I think that there is room for both. But I have no problem with voting on them separately, because I know for sure this one is coming from a manufacturer who's going to manufacture. They have their offices in Jacksonville, and they're bringing the item here to be utilized. So we know what that is. We know how big it is. We know where it's going to be housed. The other potential project, we know it would be a SCIF, but some of the other details we don't know yet, but would know at some point. And I don't see why we could not
So we can
go
get-
back and take a look at funding that as well if it's.
So again, to what Jewel was saying, we're going to give conditional approval on the third one, but it's going to come back here. Can it come back here at the next meeting? Will we have enough information on the other one? I don't want to hold this one up.
Well, No, I mean, I think even just through a negotiation process,